as you said 3 years ago, I mean, all those years ago, letting life live through you, but there's not a whole lot happening living through me right now. There isn't.
Well, then, when there's not something really living through you, or you don't feel like there is, whether there is or isn't, is just really see what happens when you really let go into that. Into no movement, into not doing anything, and there's kind of, you can do that in a surface way, was a sort of a resignation. Oh, I'm not really inspired to do much. I don't know what to do. Okay. Adya said just to kind of hang out here. That would be a surface way.
Yeah.
But when you really go with the currents of your own life, the way it's going, to really go with them, but to not go with them in a surface way, but in a deep way. If it's really like there's nothing I really feel inspired to do, might want to do something. I might want to be more engaged, right?
Yeah.
I want to feel more alive and more inspired.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting from you.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So that I understand. That's what I hear in you. And I think that the thing that's being problematic is you obviously want that. You want something that's inspiring and energetic. It's that has life in it for you.
Vitality.
Right?
Yeah.
And yet you can't find the thing that does it. When you look, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Which is that tells you in some way that you're not going to find it by figuring out the right thing to do out there. You're going to find the right thing to do out there by really, really listening in here. So life's kind of saying, sorry, sweetheart, you're not going to find it out here right now. And when you go with that, you go, okay, I'm not going to figure it out. I'm not going to go and probably look out there and go, oh, that's the thing I'm inspired to do. It's not going to work. Life doesn't seem to be going that way, does it? And I always say, when you feel stuck, go with the way life's taking you. And sometimes it seems, well, wait a minute, that would make me feel more stuck. But sometimes the only way to get unstuck is to let yourself be really stuck. Like, maybe life's not going to show you from out here. You're not going to be inspired by something to do out here. Your inspiration's going to come from the inside and then work its way out. It's not going to be seen on the outside. It's going to come from the inside. So I would suggest just to really, really, two things, which are really the same thing. But the first thing goes back to your own integrity, being honest with yourself, right? Because it's very important to know that there's a movement in you that really wants to feel more connected, more inspired, more to do something in life. Yeah. To know that. Because to really, really know that, so you know that, so you're not compromising that, because it's easy to do when you do the second part of what I'm talking about. But you know that, to find out, to really touch into the well of that inspiration, is you're really going to just stop. Stop looking for it out here. Stop even thinking about what am I supposed to do? What's the thing that's going to inspire me? Find the inspiration itself. Once you find the inspiration itself, it'll take a form. You won't even have to figure it out. It'll just be so obvious to you. You'll go, oh, that's it. But as long as we're looking for it out here at a certain point, you're not going to find it, because your life's different from that. You've outlived that mode. You're moving into a different mode, which is you're going to find it in a very quiet place inside. So it's contradictory. You want to live a life that's more enlivened and energetic and
connected
and connected and involved, and to find the source that's going to connect you and involve you. It's going to have to come from. See, I don't want to just say it's going to have to come from inside, because it's so spiritual. But what I'm trying to get across here is you almost do the opposite. What you feel the need to do is to go be connected, which is an energy that goes like, it's an abundant energy, right? It's an abundant thing to be connected, to be involved, it goes from in here and like this. And to find that energy, you gotta do the opposite. You gotta go in here. Let go out here for a while, but don't let go of your intention, right, of what you really want. You just let go, you're letting go of looking for the correct expression. And when you let go, totally let go of that, then the energy can come back. It comes back sort of into that well of inspiration. Do you get the paradox of that? To find what's going to go out like this, you got to go back in like this. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about something that takes a lot of time. You know, like you got to go within for the next year or 2 years or whatever. Mm. The time element only means how much do I let go out here and how much do I just come back here. That can take a minute, an hour, a day, a week, a month, a year, just depends on how much you just follow it back. You get the feel of it? And this is the way inspiration happens, by the way. This is kind of the way it works. Anybody that operates from that point, that kind of life, an inspired place, and I understand inspiration because I've always been hooked up. I can't do a damn thing unless I'm inspired. Literally, I'm incapable of doing it. Never, always have been that way. For me, it's either wide open or completely off. Yeah. The switch is click on or click off. Some people, they got a lot of medium. And that's fine. That doesn't mean anything other than you just got a lot of medium in you. I don't have any medium. It's either wide open or I'm sitting there. And it's fine to sit there. I love sitting there. I'm okay with either way. But what you find out is to come into that well of inspiration. It's like the lights, you've got to be okay with the light being off. Really off. Really off in the sense of, I'm not even asking myself, what should I be doing? I'm just really, right? Obviously, life isn't telling me. Yeah. I always say, when in doubt, go with the current of your own experience. If the current of your own experience isn't showing you what to do, go with it. Let it not show you. Let it take you into, I don't know what to do. Into that unknown place. When you hit into the unknown really deeply, simply, it'll start to come out. That's my sense of what's happening for you. Okay. That's my intuitive sense. It's waiting for you to kind of just come in. You'll dip into that pool and quite naturally, okay, there's the thing. Yeah. It might be the simplest thing in the world. It might be something that's very involved. But really honor that coming back, because then you can go out. Because that's how it works. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Anybody that operates through inspiration, that's how it works. I mean, a musician knows that, a painter knows that, a poet knows that. Anybody that kind of operates from a very creative space, they know that how it's equally as important to come back into that unknown place. And then it'll come back out. It's like breathing. But if you get caught in between, you're like, well, I want to live and inspired, something that's more inspiring, something that's more energetic, something that's more beautiful. But I'm not really, because I'm looking for that here, I'm not actually returning all the way. So you get stuck. Yeah, and you can be stuck for, years and years and years. People can be stuck for a whole lifetime. Often because they just don't know what to do. Yeah. They just, do I go out here? No one says, hey, let me tell you how inspiration works. It's like breathing. When you can't find it out here, it's time to go in here. Right. And you don't want to go here and stay in here. You'll breathe out. Do you know? You'll breathe out. Okay. Then let me know how it goes.
Okay. Right. The one thing I knew I wanted to do was to come here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And might I add, Marcy, come on up. Might I add, the last thing is, a lot of times I think when we feel that drive to have some sort of connectivity and expressiveness in our lives, we get too attached for looking for the big thing. What's the thing? What am I supposed to do? What's the next activity, the next involvement? And you miss, if you start with just the small things, if you're just listening, and just the things that seem almost silly, you just like, gosh. Almost like, oh, it wants to walk around the block. Okay, I'll walk around the block. So you do it. Okay, you don't feel inspired to walk around the block. It's just like a little thing. But you start to listen to the little tiny movements, and you just start to go with them. And when you start to go with them, you find that it's in the little movements that magic happens. And it's the little movements open you up to the bigger movements. But if we're always looking for something big, actually you miss all the little stuff that's really important. That makes sense? And I mean, experiment. Have fun with it. Don't make it serious. When you go home and you plop yourself on your couch and you go, okay, I'll move when something tells me to move. When some inspiration. Not like, I want to move from the couch. Not like that. But if you sit there, and your mind will try to figure it out, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you might sit there for a minute or an hour, who knows. But then at one point, all of a sudden, you'll just notice your body just gets up. All of a sudden, you go, oh, wow. And if you just let it get up, you just go, wow, I wonder where it's going to go. And you just let it go. And who knows where it'll go? It might go to the attic. It might go to the bathroom. It might, open a book. It might pick up the phone and call. But you kind of get in this thing where it's almost like you're following rather than trying to lead all the time. And you start with the small stuff, and you never know. That's what reconnects you. So I just want to include that part, because if we're looking for the big stuff all the time, you miss the ways that life's trying to actually speak to you, which is often in little teeny moments, I remember a wonderful saying that I repeat often that was by an old Zen master when someone had asked him about, not necessarily about creativity, but asking about enlightenment and all this stuff and what's life for him. And he said, 2 or 3 times I've had the great death. Which in Zen, the great death is a great awakening. He goes, but my life is lived in the million small moments that make one dance. Do you see? And when we stop looking for the big stuff all the time, all of a sudden you realize there's those million small moments that they make your heart dance. Life becomes magical in the million small moments. There will be big moments now and then, but when you're no longer looking for them, the million small moments are enough. They're just enough. Sometimes just walking down the hallway is everything that ever needed to happen. You never know how the million small moments will show up.